Hello, everyone. It's the end of the week again, and I want to go over a couple of things with you, and then I have some friends with me here today, members of the administration, to just sort of outline some things that they're most focused on and that we can share with you. First, our friends at the Niagara Falls Public Library, they're getting ready for the holiday season, and so you want to take a look at their website as well. But I can tell you that coming up on Saturday, November 29th, will be a holiday puppet show and Meet Santa at the main library. There's a whole host of things that are going to be happening starting on Saturday, November 29th, and really running all the way through the holiday season. And I'll update you on those things each time when I get to be with you. So don't forget, this Saturday, Saturday, November 29th, rather, at the main library at 2 p.m., there's a holiday puppet show, and the little ones can meet Santa, so make sure you get on out there. You know, we here at City Hall work very, very hard to make sure that we comply with all of the requirements that government needs to attend to. And one of the things is requests for information. Requests for information in a formal sense, and that is, as you know, you often read or see freedom of information requests, right? Freedom of information is the way in which other entities can officially obtain information from a government entity. It is different than you emailing your buddy and asking for a copy of the latest whatever. These are formal requests for documents, photos, papers, whatever it may be. And by the way, those freedom of information requests come from a lot of different directions. They come from residents who may want to know something about a particular item. They come from journalists who may be interested in getting additional information about a topic or an item. They come from lawyers, law firms, that may want to know something in connection with a case that they're involved in. They come in for the Department of Public Works, the Fire Department, the Police Department, the Controller's Office, the Law Department. They come in from everywhere. And guess who they come to? It's not like they come, it's not like there's, every one of these departments has their own thing going on, right? They come to one person, one office. They all start in the same place with this nice lady. So all of you all asking for things from all over the place, it starts with her. And, you know, she has a staff that tries real hard to get those things in. Look, we all know, let me also say this. We all know that the statute provides a certain time frame within which to respond to these things. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, if we had a whole division of freedom of information responders, we would likely be able to hit that timeline always. But we try real hard, and I'll admit, there are times when we don't do that. We can't get there. And it isn't because we're ignoring, or it isn't because we want to violate a time frame. We don't want to do any of that. But there are things within every one of these documents that the law also doesn't want disclosed. For instance, your Social Security number, other pertinent information that may be private to you. So, she gets them. She has to sort out, okay, who are they asking for here? What department? Her and her good staff. What are they doing? Okay, they want to talk to somebody in this department. Okay, so the email gets fired off to that department. That department collects all kinds of information that might have to do with that FOIL request, right? But then something else has to happen. Then it has to go to this department. Now, why has it got to go to the law department? Because I just got finished saying there are some things in those records that the law requires governments to protect, that it can't be disclosed, all right? And so the law department, under the direction of Mr. Du Bois, has to go through, I don't know, maybe the request that Ms. Eaton emails out ends up turning out to be a 240-page response. Well, Mr. Du Bois' department has to go through 240 pages, redacting, eliminating, blocking out, saving, protecting, use whatever word you want, the information that the statute says should not be disclosed. Again, I would like nothing more than to tell you that, like Amazon, we've got thousands of truck drivers, we've got thousands of people who are doing this. But unfortunately, we have the staff that we have, who work very hard at this. And that staff then starts going through that process of redaction, protecting. And once that's all done, then the information gets out to you. Now, what I'm going to ask first is for our city clerk, Ms. Eaton. So a FOIL request comes in. What's the first thing that the staff does?
Well, once the FOIL request comes in, we process it immediately.
What does that mean?
Meaning, there is a database that we use to acknowledge it and to give it a FOIL number, so that our citizens are able to identify when they're calling to ask for statuses. And then what happens is, within that 5-day time frame, we like to send an acknowledgement letter out, just letting the citizen know that we got your request, thank you so much. Here's an initial expected time that you should expect your response.
And then after you send out...
And then we send it, of course, to the department requested, which is very important, that our citizens specify exactly where you want it to go. We send it to that department. They receive the time frame in which they need to complete it and get it to our law department for redaction.
So let's assume that a poor citizen who really doesn't know where she wants this thing to go to sends you a FOIL request but isn't really clear in the department. Who discerns that? Who figures that out?
So oftentimes, and what we have done, and it's a bit of a task, we have actually called the citizen to ask them, like, is this where you really intend for this to go? Because oftentimes they don't know.
That's what I'm thinking.
They just simply don't know, and I would hate for them to send a request in. They may ask the clerk's office for a police report. Well, my office wouldn't have the police report. But if you don't specify that, that's a legal document I can't change. If you don't specify, I won't be able to give you what you need. So we call and ask for clarity oftentimes.
So if there's no clarity in the form, you try to do your best to figure out what that is with the resident.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now you've sent that off for processing, right? What happens when Department X collects all the stuff that you have sent the FOIL request to outline? What happens when they do that? Do they send it back to you?
No. So once it's collected, of course, it goes to the law department for redaction.
It immediately goes from that department to the law department?
That is correct.
Okay. So what happens, Mr. Du Bois, when the thing comes in the door?
I have 2 attorneys in my office who handle redactions. One handles police redactions, strictly police redactions, and the other handles all the other redactions for all the other departments. So each department has a FOIL liaison, and when they process the FOIL requests and gather what they think is responsive, they package it all together. In the case of police, it'll be a collection of PDF scans, but quite often body cam footage. In the case of motor vehicle accidents, it may include a accident reconstruction file, which is many hundreds of megabytes in size. It's a mammoth digital file. So, as the mayor indicated, the attorneys that work on this have to be very careful about redactions. And so, believe it or not, even the body cam footage gets redacted now. And so the faces of minors that are captured in a police interaction have to be blurred out to hide their identity, to protect their identity and their privacy. That's beyond my capability, but luckily I have an attorney who can do that. So you can imagine it's time consuming to do the redactions, especially with the high volume of records that come out of some of our departments, like the police department. Once the redactions are done, the attorney completes a form, signing off on the redactions they performed and trying to explain in the form the reasons for each redaction. And so there are a number of different reasons to redact, and there's a form that we use to communicate the justification for each redaction. Once that's done, our attorneys assemble everything together, now redacted, and it's sent, I'll say by email, but it's by a Windows system, sent back to the clerk's office for the clerk's office to process.
And send out,
And processing means sending it out to the requester, right?
correct.
And there's record keeping all along the way, so that when the law department sends the finalized document to the clerk's office, we know the date that happens, it's recorded, and then your office receives the completed package, and you guys record the date that it actually goes out, either by mail or by email.
Correct.
And then we can close the file.
So as I'm listening to the two of you, there are those out there that think that somehow or another, this is just some sort of haphazard. There's a methodology that allows us to track information, make sure that we protect identities that need to be protected, make sure that we're responding as quickly as we can to a FOIL request. And there's tracking to make sure that if something gets lost in the cracks, we can find out where it went. Now, I listed in the beginning of this how many different entities might be asking for information. And clearly, when it all originates in your office, Ms. Eaton, that's a pretty big load.
It is.
And
It is.
and sometimes the load can get overwhelming, right?
Very much so.
And at one point, it got so overwhelming that felt like you needed to take some action, right?
Yeah, I was looking for a way to just simply streamline things based upon the resources that we had and wanted to be compliant with the law. Yeah.
And as a consequence, at one point, there was a determination that we wouldn't take FOIL requests by email anymore.
Yeah.
But let me ask this.
Sure.
We have a particular email address for FOIL requests, right?
Absolutely.
And at some point, email requests for FOILs were coming in from all over the place to individual staff members.
Yeah, they were. Unfortunately, oftentimes some people don't follow the process and they will send it outside of the designated email. And as a result, we're not able to process those things. It makes it very difficult when it's not streamlined or if the instructions are not followed.
And you have a few folks in your office, and sometimes they're ill. Sometimes they go on vacation.
Yeah,
Sometimes they just want to take a day off.
yeah.
And so if you're emailing to those personal emails, no one's going around checking everybody's email.
No, in fact, I don't have access to those emails,
Right.
to other person's emails. I can only respond to the FOIL email.
Right at
or
that
any of the staff,
address.
right at that address. Yeah. If it's sent outside of that, it's not a FOIL. If
Well,
it's outside of
yeah,
that.
I mean, it's also sitting, correct me if I'm wrong.
Could be sitting for a week if that person's out a week.
And-
That happened.
Yeah.
That actually happened, yeah.
And no one's looking for it.
No.
So
Yeah.
that's why it's important, just as it's important for you both to follow the public officer's law as you've described, it's also got to be important for the requester to please get it in to the right address, because once you get it in the right pipeline, then the process that you both just talked about can start happening. So where are we at right now with emails? I mean, my position is we need to accept emails, but what have we done to help ourselves?
Well, the great news is that after a pause of about 3 weeks, our city clerk has retooled, with the help of MIS, which is our IT department,
Yeah.
With help of IT, the clerk has retooled her website. And so now when you visit the clerk's webpage, go to the FOIL page and you will see that there's a new specific email. I think it's called FOIL.
Yes, very specific to foils only.
Okay.
Don't send anything else to the email address, just foils.
So as of yesterday, the pause in email submissions is over, and as of yesterday, we started accepting.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the both of you doing that, because I know that you both know that when that hit, we had some internal conversation about how we have to fix that, because
Yeah.
we can't, I mean, in the 21st century, we need to be responsive in that way.
Absolutely.
But we also need to make sure that we're not setting ourselves up for an inability to respond by having emails coming into all different directions.
Correct.
So,
Correct. We want to streamline that.
right.
Yes, and the new and improved webpage is very explicit, where it could have been more explicit in the past, but now it's very, very clear. It includes many warnings. If you use any other email besides this one, which is foils@niagarafalls.gov,
That is
right?
correct.
If you use any other email besides that, it's a nullity. It's not a FOIL request. You may think it is, but it's not.
And to be honest with you, those who may look at that and think that it's elevating form over substance, it really isn't. It's really about doing, I mean, you just heard 240 whatever megabytes and all of these pages and protecting and redacting. That stuff all takes time to do, and it doesn't get kicked off unless the request comes in appropriately to a place where you can get your hands on it, process it to the right department, receive the information into the law department, allow for that redaction piece, and get it back out the door. None of that's going to happen if it doesn't start off in the right spot. And that helps, I guess it helps your departments, stay focused on this important piece of getting information out to people who ask for it.
Yes, so please be specific, follow those directions. I've also included on the website what each department record, what each department records they may hold, so that you're not having to guess. Because sometimes we receive so many requests, I can't call everybody.
Right.
So I need you to follow instructions on that and look at that website. It will tell you what department has what. So when you're making your request and you're being very specific with dates and times, we're able to cater to that request.
And if you don't see the exact item that you're...
Just call and ask.
Yeah, call and ask, or be very specific on the form, and we'll do our best to help, okay?
Yeah.
Is there anything else I missed, you guys? I mean, FOIL's an important piece of how the government communicates, right? So...
It's interesting that one of the things that led to the FOIL system breaking down a few weeks ago is it's interesting to note, who the main people were who were not following instructions, and it was mostly law firms, which is surprising because usually you think law firms are rule-based individuals, but it was law firms and also media requests. And with those two groups of individuals, those two entities, we also see an expectation. It's a little bit frustrating. We see an expectation from them that their FOILs should be expedited, or they should jump to the head of the line ahead of everyone else who submitted before them. It's interesting that you talked about the law firms using FOIL. It wasn't too many years ago when the rule across the state was, if you're in active litigation with another party, you can only conduct discovery through the court methods
Court methods,
and
yeah.
CPLR methods.
Correct.
And you were
have changed.
prohibited from using FOIL. Unfortunately for all the cities and municipalities across the state, that rule changed, and so now we have personal injury attorneys who are conducting discovery on two fronts, both through the court process, but also through the FOIL process. And that has added to our volume problem, our volume issue.
Yeah.
I think oftentimes that those firms would be better served if they just stuck to the court process. It's actually quicker in
Sure
many
is.
cases than FOIL.
And there are consequences for the other team's failure to comply, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing our best to
That's right.
comply, but you're walking into a stadium that's already crowded.
Yeah.
So we may not always be the fastest method. And And foils themselves are formal, right? I mean, they're not just some email that you shoot out to the clerk's office.
We do provide a form that you
Correct.
can fill out.
Yeah.
Now, the, the agency that oversees FOIL throughout the state has offered an opinion that requesters do not have to use the FOIL form. But I would always recommend using the FOIL form, because what it does is it really forces you to think clearly about what you want to request and who you want it to go to. The emails that we get, the FOIL requests that we get in the form of emails, they're often
Dissertation.
disjointed and hard, and it's surprising because we've seen media requests come in by email
Yeah.
where it's so perplexing, we often have to call and say, what is it that you're really looking for? You know,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that
Streamline.
when people write their own email requests, I think they probably feel like, well, I have to write this like I'm an attorney, which they're not. And they make it so formalistic that it turns into something that's unreadable, and ultimately you can't understand it. So it actually leads to more work. If they just use the form, we get better, we get better efficiency when the form is used.
But an email directly to a department isn't a FOIL.
No, it's not.
No.
No, I'm talking about when.
I mean, if
when-
you're sending an email to the clerk's office saying, I
Yeah.
want information on this, and this, but you don't use the form, I get that.
Yes,
But an email to the assessor's office isn't a FOIL.
it is not a
No.
FOIL, you're right. I didn't
That
mean
lists
to-
questions.
Yeah.
No.
That's not a FOIL request.
Not at all. No.
Well,
A FOIL to my email. A FOIL
Yeah.
request to my email is not a FOIL request.
No.
I sometimes get those and I say, hey, wrong person.
Yeah.
so did we miss anything on the FOIL business?
I don't think so, Mayor. I don't think so.
Very important part of what government does in responding to entities wanting information, residents that want information. There is a process, and we're trying to do our best to make sure that we follow that process, and with your help, get the information to you as quickly as we can. Again, as I've said a million times, I'd love to be able to do this thing in a turnaround of 10 days, but I know the limits, based on what you just heard, the limits of what we can do given the, the size of the staff that we have. But we will always work to get the answer to you as quickly as we can, safeguarding the information that we have to. So I want to thank you both for coming in and helping people understand that. So we're coming into a weekend where I expect the weather to be a little bit better. If you're going to be out and about, please be safe, be careful. Remember, we've still got people on bikes and scooters and all those things on the road. So be safe, have fun, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.